Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Pravina Khatri, and I'm the VP of Marketing here at Swiftype. Today, we're going to be talking about how two top universities tackled site search, and they made it a core part of their website strategy. So I am excited to introduce you to our featured speakers today. First up is going to be Elaine Shannon, who has been a web developer and user interface specialist with St. Mary's University for about 2 years, and she has over 8 years of experience managing websites. So thanks so much for being here, Elaine. We're excited to hear about your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And then also joining us is Michael Santorowski, who is the Director of Web and Software Development Services with Roanoke College. And Michael's been with Roanoke for about 16 years, and he's managed the development of their website for a lot of that time. So we're excited to have him here too. Thanks, Michael. So this here is probably an image that you're all familiar with that was actually introduced to me by Michael. And while I think it's very humorous, it actually showcases the challenges that universities face with their websites in a very real way. Some of the challenges that I hear about from our customers are things like catering to many different audiences. So you're having to cater to prospective students, parents, faculty, and alumni. So many different audiences, and the contents can be really different for them as well. And so some of the other challenges that we hear about is the fact that a lot of this content might live in different areas with different domains or in different platforms. And, these are all sort of common pain points. And that's why I was really excited to have Elaine and Michael join us today, because they've been through this and they're here to share their respective stories on how they navigated through these issues, both internally and externally in terms of how they were able to cater to these specific audiences. So I'm not going to take up too much more time here because I want you to hear their stories. And first up is going to be Elaine. So Elaine, please take it away.
Thanks, Pravina. I'm glad everybody could make it today. I really love that last slide on content. It's probably relevant to a lot of you, even if you're not in that higher education industry. So I wanted to give you just a quick little background before we dive into search. I work for the St. Mary's University that is in San Antonio, Texas. There's lots of St. Mary's out there. We are a private Marianist Catholic university, and Marianist means that we're associated with the Society of Mary. So we have a big focus on dialogue across all faiths and helping students find their true vocation, their calling, and not just a job after they graduate. We're always working on improving our website since we know it's one of our biggest marketing vehicles. And here you can kind of see the difference between what the website looked like before Swiftype in February 2015 and what it looks like today. Incidentally, when we first set up Swiftype, it actually still looked just like that February slide. It's easy to set it up to look however you want. So Swiftype search worked exactly the same way with that old design as it does with the new one. Back in 2015, when I first came to St. Mary's, I inherited two websites. The one you see here, which is www.stmarytx.edu, and our law school's separate website, law.stmarytx.edu. The law school had just broken off from the main site due mostly to internal politics and the fact that a whole lot of other law schools have their own sites, so why couldn't we? So the main site had been migrated to WordPress back in 2012, and our search engine had always been limited, but when the law site broke off, it really made it even more apparent that the default out-of-the-box WordPress search was not going to work well for us. Besides the fact that it didn't find relevant content very easily, now that the law school was on a separate installation, we realized the built-in search engine literally could not search through that website at all. It can only search the website it's on. As I mentioned, the biggest challenge we faced with our search engine was it just wasn't finding relevant content. No matter whether it was a current student looking for the final schedules, or a prospect trying to figure out what degrees we offer, or maybe an alum who wanted to see if there were any upcoming socials, the search engine was just really spitting out junk. And then there was that multiple website problem. So even if you install a WordPress plugin, there's quite a few available to search through your results. It can still only work on the website that it's installed on, not those other external websites. If you work in higher education, you're probably very familiar with a sprawling structure like we have. You have people spread out all across campus in different departments with different buckets of funding. So you end up with all kinds of different platforms and 50 different subdomains. In our case, we're pretty lucky that most of our public-facing content really does live on that www website with that other little fraction over on the law side. We don't have separate websites for every school, but we still have a lot of external sites. There's a bookstore website, an application website, an athletics site. We have one platform for our main campus library and another platform for our law library. So when we first started looking at search engine options, we had about 8 websites we wanted to start covering. So it was really important to us to find a solution that would let us index all of those different domains. And it was also important to have restrictions. So we don't want to index the whole bookstore. People can search through the bookstore search engine for specific products. We just need people on the main website to be able to find the homepage to the bookstore. So customization was also a big factor. Budget, I mean, it's always a factor, but in higher ed, it's especially a factor. And then last but not least, the agency that set up our websites didn't set up site search analytics at all. So we didn't have any way to measure what people were searching for. As both a designer and a developer, I really like to rely on analytics and user testing to make decisions like which pages go into the top nav and what content should be more prominent. So having some way to track all these things was on my wish list. I was a little surprised that I didn't find very many options when I was looking for a new search engine. A Google custom search engine was one option, but even if you paid for the premium version, it still was really going to look like Google search. Some of you may be here because Google is phasing it out entirely. Another one that I found was Elasticsearch, but that one looked like a much more involved installation process, and I really wanted to get something up and running quickly. And then I found Swiftype, and it seemed to match our needs pretty well. It had that ability to search multiple domains. There were plans we could squeeze into our budget, and the customization tools looked like even more than I'd hoped for. So you can literally drag and drop results for every keyword. So say if you search for jobs, but the website has a page called HR that's not showing up at all in the search for jobs, you can add that page and you can pin it to always be the first search result. That was exactly what we needed to solve our relevancy problem. One other feature I hadn't expected was the synonym tool. So the jobs versus HR example is just one of many. What if people are searching for dorms, but we only have a page on residence halls? And then there's another very commonly confused term, graduation. In higher ed, we know graduation is technically the process of completing degree requirements, and the ceremony that all those parents are searching for is commencement. As you can imagine, 99% of the people on the site are searching for graduation, even though it's the commencement page they need to find. So inside the Swiftype dashboard, you can define synonym sets of as many terms as you need to link, and then no matter which term people search by, they will find those same results. We also found that really handy for common typos. You would not believe how many ways there are to misspell calendar and even tuition. But if you add those typos as synonyms, people are going to find what they're searching for instead of that no results found that we don't want them to find. And finally, Swiftype offered 2 ways to get analytics. It can feed into Google Analytics, but it also has its own reporting suite, which has turned out to be really useful for the folks in my office who really want to know what people are searching for, but they're not that comfortable digging around in Google Analytics. So here you can see some of the ways that we have ended up using Swiftype. Visitors are finding the results that they need, and we can always monitor those analytics. If there are any queries that are returning no results, we can quickly go in and instantly change that. There's not any update time, it's just saved right there. When we very first set up Swiftype, it took about a week before people started using it. But then all of a sudden, when people realized they were finding what they needed, search usage was just an exponential curve upward. And we've used all that data in a lot of different fun ways. One fun way has been adding content. So most of the people who work on the website have been around the university for a while. A lot of us are graduates in the office. So a lot of times we tend to take things for granted. One popular search we noticed in the first few months was mascot, and it suddenly dawned on us we didn't have anything at all on our site about it. So we built an athletics page that has a section on the mascot, which is Rattler Man. We also learned a lot about the terms people were using, so I spent a whole lot of time customizing search results for those popular queries. And finally, after a year-long project of mining data from both Google Analytics and Swiftype, we braced ourselves and completely redid our hierarchy, our information architecture on that main website. And we actually went from over 2,000 static pages to somewhere around 800 on the main site. We surfaced a lot of that content that was buried 5 levels deep, but people kept searching for it and it was popular. Time on site is up. Our SEO is a lot easier to maintain because there's fewer pages to keep track of. And people on campus comment a lot that they love how easy it is to find everything now. We also saw from analytics that people were having a really hard time finding majors and degrees. So we totally redesigned our program page. So instead of having just a big long table of all those degrees and minors and all those fun things, you can see at the top of this slide, we have 3 different options now for people to find a program that interests them. So the first and most popular one is this new search by interest engine. So it indexes only our programs, which are degrees, certificates, majors, minors, and we add keywords to each of those so that if a visitor types in math, they're going to find not just mathematics, but also physics, accounting, data analytics, all sorts of things they might not have even considered before. And right out of the gate, when we launched that feature, we found that 34% of our visitors to that page were using that search engine, and they were spending time on the program pages. And once people request information from those program pages, they're far more likely to actually fill out an application for admission and come to the university. So that's a huge win for us. Last year, we actually added a 3rd search engine for our official policies. We wanted something more sophisticated. Most of our visitors are our own staff, but they needed to be able to find things like just restricted to their own office or just the most recently updated policies for people kind of spot checking to make sure everything's current. So as I was building that website, I worked on a much more advanced engine using the Swiftype API. Our other 2 engines just use the crawler, which means all you do is tell Swiftype what sites to crawl and it's off and running just like Googlebot. But with the API, you send your content programmatically to the database with your code in real time. So I dug into tons of documentation, worked with the support team several times, and they were great at helping me through what was a fairly big learning curve for me. We've also done some really fun things with engagement modules, which automatically add related links to keep visitors on our site longer. But I don't want to take up all of our time today, so it's about time to hand it over to Michael.
Great. Thanks so much, Elaine. It's really insightful how you were able to use, you and your team were able to use all that data to make some very detailed changes on your site. So thanks for sharing your story. I do have some questions coming in for you, but again, we'll just wait until the end of the webcast and we can get to those questions. So thank you. So Michael, you're up next. Please take it away.
They said I'm Michael. I've been with Roanoke College for 16 years. I've done 4 site redesigns in that time. And in 2015, we did a really big site redesign where obviously we implemented mobile responsive website, which is really important as mobile was skyrocketing as it continues to at that time. So one of my personal goals, and a lot of people that were working on the project really wanted excellent search. It was just absolutely the #1 feature that we knew our website had to have. We spent about a year doing on-campus interviews, working with marketing companies, planning for the website, building the website, and finally launching it. And we ended up going with the built-in site search that our CMS used, and it was awful. It was terrible. Previously, we had used the Google site search. Basic things that people tried to search for were not returning results at all. Obviously, if you are mobile, the navigation is not ideal, so you are having to use search to get to stuff, and so we were in a bind. We had spent all this time, a lot of money, a lot of resources on building this website, and didn't have a workable search. Our CMS company, bless them, they were very good, and they were, we were talking to them, and they were saying, well, maybe we can try this setting, or maybe we could tweak this setting, but things weren't getting good fast. So much like Elaine, I started looking around the web and didn't really find many options, but I found Swiftype, and they had a free trial, which was great. The implementation was amazing. I could not believe, because we had just paid this company to make all these changes to the interface, and it was like I was very depressed because it would have been so easy at that point to implement a new search engine, but because I didn't really want to go back to them and get them to make a bunch of changes. But the Swiftype interface allows you to specify precisely what the ID is for your search elements, and how you want those search results to look. So within about an hour, I was able to implement it on our intranet site, and that was a way for me to sort of get it running, and then leverage that to start talking to our PR and marketing sites and saying, listen, I got this up and running really quickly on our intranet. You guys should take a look at this for the marketing site because it's in bad shape. So they were able to see it and appreciate it, and find the funding to get that done pretty quickly. That I got it done in an hour. It took PR about a month and a half to sort of make that final decision, but it got us in a great state. I have to agree with a lot of the things that Elaine said in terms of just being able to go in there and see what people are searching for, immediately add keywords or results ranking. But one of the features that I really like is the ability to weight the results, the functionality of the page, so you can say, give the title this much, or give the body text this much, or add particular fields on the page. And that was a feature that the CMS site search had promised us. It was very interesting because they all swore somewhere on the server was this file, and if we could just find that file, we could set these weights and everything would be great. Inside of Swiftype, it's literally just a button under Customize that says weights, and a slider, and you can set them however you want. So nobody ever found that feature on the CMS version. The features that are really important to us are that ability to add content from a variety of sources. Like Elaine was saying, we have a lot of other external sites, a catalog, a library page, athletics site, various content all over the place. I don't think it always makes sense to bring them all in here. We have not brought our athletics site in here. It's kind of a separate site, and people can search for that, and they have a ton of content. So in my mind, it just doesn't make sense to pollute those results, but if something that we wanted to do, we could easily do that. So moving forward, we're now doing a redesign of our intranet header, and we're looking very closely at the analytics inside of Swiftype to make sure that the things that people are searching for are what we're able to do. I'd also like to comment on the fact that Swiftype does allow you to have multiple different engines. So our marketing engine and our intranet engines are completely separate, although because of the way our site is set up, they are crawling a lot of the similar content. I think to us, sort of that ease of implementation and just knowing that it's up and running and crawling new content is just really taken a lot of the support. My team has had some vacancies, so I've been short-staffed for about the last year. I'm excited to hear what Elaine was talking about with the integration of the API. That's something that we're really looking forward to doing. There's a lot of original pieces of the vision on how search was supposed to work that we never did get to. Swiftype can allow us to do all those things. The engagement modules is something that would be super helpful to our admissions office and our alumni office that we can be using. So right now for us, the benefits are really, the fact that we're not having to spend time keeping this thing up and running, and we can sort of sleep at night knowing that things are working out there. But I'm really excited for the possibilities to get more and deeper into Swiftype and do a lot more custom things. I think our academic catalog is something that could really use a lot of help. We have got a lot of various handbooks and stuff that search would just be great for. So there's a lot of headroom for us to grow with Swiftype, and but I think it can also really be used in sort of a set it and forget it kind of functionality. One of the stories I was telling them earlier was that I was at a meeting and someone was like, "Oh, I keep searching for the academic catalog, but I'm not finding anything," because they were spelling it with the traditional English LOGUE. So I was easily able to go in there and update that. So I will be quiet and answer questions now.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Michael. We're excited for you to expand your use of Swiftype too. So we'll have to tackle that in the next webinar where you can share more of that and some of the features that you've used. Let's see. So we've got quite a few questions coming in here, and a lot of questions around Google's custom search engine. I guess, so I'm sure many of you are aware that Google announced they're sunsetting the GSS product, and they're now pushing their users to use their free CSE product. So one of the questions here is, what's your advice if we're looking to move to Google Custom Search or other free search products? Michael, do you want to maybe tackle that one?
So, I mean, we've done both. Obviously, I think, Google, really is just giving you the same results that they give you on their site, and just does not sort of allow for that high level of customization. Obviously, the API and the engagement modules are also real value added. I think, to me, search is such a critical part of the site experience. Like I say, especially with mobile, to me, that is the default interface that people are going to use. They're going to come to your site. If they're on their phone, they're not going to go through pages and pages of navigation to try to figure out what they're going to look for. They're just going to type in, pre-med or chemistry major or English major or athletics, and try to get those results immediately. So it's so central to the website, and I think that you want the highest possible quality solution to that, with the ability to customize it exactly for your institution. One of the things, I've been around higher ed long enough to know, like, how one size fits all does not apply to higher ed.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see the next question here. So I have several levels of approval to purchase new website solutions. Do you have advice on how to tackle this internally?
I think, do you guys still have the free trial?
We do. We have a 14-day trial.
Yeah, so I mean, it's so fast to implement that you can, set it up on a section of your website, have it crawl, and start showing people how much better those results are, and how easy it is to sort of change the results around and stuff like that. I would really take advantage of that 14 days to sort of get it running and then show people how it works.
Okay. So we have another question coming in around what CMS that each of you use for your sites.
So on the St. Mary's side, for our main websites, we use WordPress. But a lot of those other sites that I was mentioning, the bookstore, athletics, libraries, those are all on a whole bunch of different CMSs. So it's really easy to both install the search on any of those that you want to install it on, but also you can crawl any of those sites like the bookstore. We don't have a Swiftype search engine where you can search on the bookstore, but on our main website, you can find the bookstore as a search result. So I think it's really easy both ways, both to install it and to crawl other sites that you may never put Swiftype on.
And we use Nginx CMS, which is higher ed specific, but it's pretty popular in the higher ed space.
Okay. Thank you. And let's see. So there are quite a few other questions, but we are running out of time here. But I wanted to ask a question that I always like to ask customers, which is, you can answer either or. So what are the top 3 search queries on your site, or what's the most bizarre search query that you've seen come across? Elaine, do you want to go first on this one?
Sure. I was actually digging through. I couldn't find any bizarre ones. So I would say the top 3 searches that I have seen recently are gateway, which is our intranet. And it always kind of boggles my mind that people don't bookmark that. They just search for it. Tuition is always in the top 3. And then we usually kind of, that third slot rotates seasonally. It could be academic calendars if people are looking for that for their final schedule. Sometimes it's summer camps, and that particular time of year there's a sweet spot. So
nice. Okay. Yeah, I definitely expected tuition to be in the top 3. It's good to see. And Michael, how about you?
Yeah, ours are jobs. People are always trying to get jobs here. Cost, tuition, cost, and then third is calendar. As far as bizarre, I always find interesting people searching for their own name and multiple times. So you can see students or faculty members just trying to see what their name turns up.
Great. They probably think you're Google, right? Let's see. All right, so let's wrap up here. Thank you so much, Elaine and Michael, for joining us. If you'd like to learn more about Swiftype, please visit our website. And as Michael mentioned, we do have a free trial. It's free and it's 14 days, very easy to sign up so that you can start indexing and crawling your site and start sort of, using our interface and getting more comfortable with it. And then I'd just also like to add that please follow us on social media. We're on all the main channels here, and we look forward to connecting with you afterwards. Thanks so much and have a great day, everyone.